So in this room, you can see a lot going on with different light sources. The brightest one is this one coming in from this window over here. And you're getting all kinds of great like shadows cast over here, the blinds. Um, and that effect when you're kind of having some kind of texture that kind of like overlaps the um, your light source is called a gobo. And it can be a lot of fun way to kind of add some more interesting shadows and shapes across your objects. I mean, you have, some of these, you have an overhead light as well that's kind of help, creating some more ambient light sources isn't necessarily as strong as um, the sunlight kind of coming through. You really start thinking about, some of these smaller light sources as well. Like I have this lamp over here that it's again, it's not it's just a regular point light. I'm getting that shadow from the shape of the lamp itself. Um, but again, like thinking like this is kind of maybe like a early morning kind of day, thinking about where these shadows are kind of coming in and where the sun is located. It's like almost it's not really high in the sky. Like you're really getting these long drawn out shadows. So the sun is more horizontal, and really thinking about how some of these like subtleties and what the shadows are doing is kind of conveying um, in the scene, and really how does that make you feel? You know, on something like that. Like, what if you turn the lights off outside and like dim down? I still have a little bit of an interior overhead light just to kind of, create some ambience and like you could see more of the subtle shapes. But really what's lighting it is like maybe this lamp here. And, I actually have there these emission textures. It's actually something you do in your material settings where you can have it emit a light. And then you kind of see a lot more of the subtlety, like, just this Dr. Pepper bottles, like just the couple of the highlights is like capturing that edge and like, a little bit of like this glow. But it really, again, how we're talking a little bit like photography things, you're actually painting with this light source and kind of really making the viewer's attention draw to the areas that you want them to. And this could be done, in just simple rendering and storytelling. But as like in gameplay, this could be used again to kind of draw the user's attention to certain areas in your scene, um, just based off of where you're kind of shaping that light. And again, this is done in Eevee right now. And if I were to switch over to um, cycles. And again, this is, a pretty big scene um, that it has to render. And this is, again, just the preview mode. I haven't even set it up for my actual render. So if I turn that down, you can kind of see that it's pixelated at first until I can kind of drop it down even further. But even that, it kind of gives me like how long it's going to take. So that's something again to think about. And this is a pretty powerful laptop I'm working off of. It has like a high GPU, um, but even with that, it'll take it a while to actually render out if you're kind of even just building stuff in cycles and kind of seeing um, what you want to create. So next, last thing I'm going to do is kind of just get up to the steps before we take it to the compositor. And we'll look at the compositor in the next video. Um, because it's a whole nother thing, but it allows me to kind of do some more fine tuning and kind of like alter some stuff and stuff in an area called post processing. So if I render something out and it's not completely the way that I want it, it kind of gives me allowed to do some last minute adjustments. One of the things that we'll notice, especially that I see, is like this blooming type post processing that kind of naturally occurs in um, cycles and not in Eevee. It's where these like emitted lights kind of have this like glow to them that kind of feels again like a lot more natural. And again, this is just in the pixelated cycle, so it's hard to see. Um, but it allows you to kind of like again start thinking about really what is this light doing? That it kind of like creates almost like a distortion from like this, like a little bit of an atmosphere where this light is kind of, again, kind of like fuzzy and kind of creating a softness to it, which I think is, um, again, kind of nice. And we'll look at some of these little bit more, particularly when we render it out and put it in the compositor. So again, I'll go to render image. And something to think about too when you're rendering, especially something like cycles, is it can take a long time. Like in a scene this big, this also might be because I have, um, a recording thing going on too. Um, but it'll kind of tell you like how long it'll take. Something like this big might take like 1 or 2 hours. So think about that as far as kind of like when you want to kind of get to a point that you're ready to render, add that to your time frame, but also add that to like, use, Eevee and other renders as far as you can until you're ready to just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna, render this thing and go work on something else while this thing kind of renders. And that could be if it's a really big scene or an animation that might be um, sleeping and letting it render overnight or sending it off to like a render farm.